Hi, boys and girls, writers. Today we're going to be working on planning our compare and contrast paragraph. And I often think of a compare and contrast kind of like a seesaw. It tips back and forth. I have to think about the things and both sides of the things. And in the middle is how they're the same. So on the outside, how it's tipping is different, but on the inside middle is how it is the same. So I'm going to show you how I think about that like a seesaw today as I plan for my compare and contrast in my sprinkles journal. So first of all, I'm going to think about what my topic is that I was already planning. So I'm going back to my slide 15 and it's my purple one. This is the one where something versus something else. So I was looking at a Belgium Christmas versus a US Christmas. So I'm going to get that in there. And I did a little bit of research before I came to planning this. I had to read a little bit about Belgium to know more. So I have a Belgium Christmas versus US Christmas. And then I'm going to think about my seesaw. I'm going to first think about one thing on each side and keep it tipping. So I'm going to think about my differences first. So how Christmas is in Belgium, and then I'm going to think about how it is in the US. When I was doing my research, I learned a lot about how Belgium did it. I had read a book about Belgium Christmases on Epic. So if you need to do that, that's okay. And I already know a lot about Christmas in the US. So I'm thinking about the first thing that I read about in Belgium, the gift giver, the one who gives the gifts is Sinterklaas. And in the US, I thought about that. So that was one side of my seesaw. Now I'm going to tip the other way. And I'm going to think, okay, in the US, who's the gift giver? Yeah, we all know it's Santa Claus. And then I was thinking, okay, I was thinking about helpers. So I'm tipping back to Belgium. There is a helper that Sinterklaas has, and his name is Black Peter. And that's because he gets stuck in a chimney a lot. So he's got soot all over him. And then we have the helpers to Santa Claus, of course, are the elves. So I tipped back and forth. I thought about who the helpers were. Now I'm thinking, oh, Sinterklaas comes on a horse named Zwarte. Yeah, and I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but that's how I would say it. And I'm thinking about how Santa comes in a sleigh pulled by reindeer, specifically Rudolph, but I can add that later when I write because these are just my notes. Okay, then I was thinking, oh, the children in Belgium, they leave biscuits and carrots for Sinterklaas and his horse. So I'm getting that seesaw. I'm thinking about, okay, what kinds of things do they leave? So carrots and biscuits. And in the US, a lot of times they leave milk and cookies for Santa. I know that. I used to do that. Then I was thinking, okay, where does this person leave the gifts? So I had looked at Belgium, and I'm going to tip my seesaw, and in Belgium, they leave their gifts in shoes by the door. But in the US, under the tree. And I was thinking, okay, is there any difference of when Christmas is? So I thought about it in Belgium and I looked it up, and Christmas, they get their gifts on December 6th. So that's just kind of right around the corner if you've got some Belgium heritage. So December 6th. But in the US, it is not until December 25th. So once I used my seesaw, I went back and forth planning. And I would think you could probably have about 4 things here, boys and girls. Then I'm going to think, what do these things have in common? So I'm looking at my seesaw. What's gonna hold it together in the middle and balance it out? What is the same about both of them? So I have Sinterklaas and Santa Claus. Well, they are both gift givers. Okay, then I'm thinking about Black Peter and elves. Well, both of them have helpers to give the gifts. Oops, I can spell that. Then I was thinking, okay, oh, they both have animals to get here. Have animals that bring them. Okay, then and I don't have to have a whole bunch here, maybe 3 or 4 things that are in common. And I'm just going to add here one more thing. I can always add more later if I think about it, is that both of the holidays are celebrated in December. So boys and girls, as I am thinking about my compare and contrast in my Venn diagram, I want to think about it like a seesaw, balancing back and forth, back and forth. What is different about those things? What am I comparing? One thing versus the other thing. I'm going to balance it. And then I'm going to think about what is the same in the center to kind of keep that balanced out. What do those two things that seesaw was going back and forth, do they have in common? So I want you to stop and think, what do I need to think about when one thing versus the other? So first, I'm going to go to slide 15. I'm going to look at my purple and see what I planned. Second, I'm going to go back to my slide 22, my planning slide for my compare and contrast, and start thinking about how I'm going to plan out one thing versus the other. Third, I might have to do a little research on Epic or on Google with the teacher's approval of the one thing versus the other. So see what you can do. See if you can get at least 4 things in each category. I know you can do it, writers. Get out there and start showing me that you can compare and contrast with your writing and your topic. Good luck, writers.